I'm Michelle Smeby. I am founder and CEO of Holistic Change Incorporated, and this is You Are Remarkable. I'd like to tell you where the idea for this speech came about. Mentium is a cross-company mentoring program, and the way it works is a corporation will identify their up-and-coming leaders and will send them through this year-long program. What Mentium then does is finds executives from other corporations to act as mentors for each one of the individuals who's going through the program. During the course of the year, the mentee and mentor can actually talk about anything that's going on in the mentee's career. Whether it's figuring out a work-life balance, whether it's figuring out how to manage up or develop an executive presence, really anything that's going on in the mentee's career, they can talk about. I had the honor of participating in the program 6 years ago as a mentee, and then the even greater honor 3 years ago, they invited me back as a mentor. Last year, I was mentoring a woman named Alina who brought a problem to me that I recognized was something that a lot of us encounter at various times in our careers. And I'm very grateful that Alina has authorized me to break the confidentiality of our mentoring partnership so that I can bring this story to you today. Our hope is that it will inspire you. This is Alina. Alina works for a multinational manufacturer, and like a lot of multinational manufacturers, the majority of the executives in her organization are white men. And Alina was finding it very difficult to break into the fraternity. Probably the best word to describe Alina is Spitfire. And during the course of the year, we were working on her executive presence and really how she could demonstrate to her leadership the unique talent that Alina brings. Now, she brought me a particular problem a year ago, which was her boss had scheduled a one-on-one for Alina with his boss, who is the director of their division. And while this director had known of Alina for 5 years, they'd never actually met in person. And Alina was very uncomfortable going into the meeting, and she recognized that this was her chance to really sell herself in a professional and appropriate manner and really explain what unique value she brings to the table. And Alina decided that as long as she was uncomfortable going into the meeting, she was going to ask for a raise. She knew they viewed her as a top performer because they were sending her through Mentium, and she decided that as long as she was going in, she was going to ask for what she felt was appropriate pay. Now, Alina's situation made me realize that all of us have times when we are meeting with an executive who can make a decision about our future. Whether it's a job interview or we're asking for a promotion or even an annual performance review. All of us have times when we need to explain who we are in a professional and appropriate manner and to really claim those qualities that are unique to us and what we bring to the table. Now, at the time that Alina brought me this challenge, I had just read an article in Inc.com by Jeff Haden. And his article is entitled The 8 Qualities of Remarkable Employees. Now, what Jeff said was, we all know who our great employees are. Great employees are consistent, they're reliable. Great employees are the ones that we always assign our tough projects to because we know that they'll deliver. But Jeff took it one step further and said there are some employees who are remarkable, who possess qualities that may not appear on an annual performance review, but that nonetheless make a dramatic impact on business performance. These are those 8 qualities. Number 1, they ignore job descriptions. When a key customer's project is in jeopardy, a remarkable employee will jump in and fix the situation, even if it's not their job to do so. Number 2, they're eccentric. People who aren't afraid to be different naturally challenge the status quo, and often are the ones who come up with the best ideas. Number 3, they know when to dial it back. Remarkable employees know when to play and when to be serious. They know when to challenge and when to conform. Number 4, they publicly praise. Remarkable employees recognize the contributions of others, and they do so in a group setting when the power of their words will have a greater impact. And number 5, yet they privately complain. A remarkable employee will come to you either before or after a meeting to discuss a sensitive topic, knowing that to bring it up in a group setting might set off a firestorm. Number 6, they speak when others won't. Remarkable employees have an innate feel for the issues and concerns of those around them and will step up to ask questions or to raise a sensitive topic when others hesitate to do so. Number 7, they like to prove others wrong. Self-motivation often springs from a desire to show that the doubters are wrong. Remarkable employees are driven by something more than just the desire to do a good job. They often have this need to prove that they can exceed expectations and that they can achieve something that people don't think is possible. And number 8, they are always fiddling. Some people are rarely satisfied, and Jeff says, and he means this in a good way. Remarkable employees are constantly tinkering with something. They're reworking a timeline, they're adjusting a process, they are tweaking a workflow. Remarkable employees find ways to make your processes better, not only because they're expected to, but because they just can't help themselves. Now, I really like these 8 qualities of remarkable employees, but in reading this article, something else struck me, and that is that remarkable is in the eyes of the beholder. For employees who ignore job descriptions, they have probably stepped on the toes of their peers when they've jumped in and fixed a situation that wasn't their job to do so. Or how about those who like to prove others wrong? How many of you have bosses who like to be proven wrong? But again, I really like this concept that we possess qualities that may not appear on a performance review, but that nonetheless makes a dramatic impact on our business performance. So what I'd like to share with you now are those qualities that make me remarkable. Now, again, because I realize that remarkable is in the eyes of the beholder, for each one of these qualities, I'm going to share with you both the positive and the negative perception of the qualities. Depending on the manager or peer or person on the street, they may perceive these qualities as more positive or as more negative, but regardless of the perception, these are the unique traits that I bring to the table, and these are the qualities that I bring that make a dramatic impact on my business performance. Number 1, I am passionate. On the positive side, this makes me an excellent motivator. I can get people excited about something that is radically different than what they've done before and be willing to try something new. On the negative side, people who are not comfortable with those who express emotion are often not comfortable around me. I want to tell you a story. The best boss I've ever had is the epitome of equanimity. In all the years I've known her, I have never seen her lose her cool in a meeting. I have never heard her raise her voice. She is always calm, cool, and collected. I worked for this woman for 2 years, and during the course of the 2 years, we had weekly one-on-ones where she would give me feedback on what I was doing and what I needed to be doing better. Every week in my one-on-one, she would tell me, Michelle, you need to temper your enthusiasm. Michelle, you need to take a breath. Michelle, you are overwhelming your audience. Every week for 2 years. And every week for 2 years, I would try to take a deep breath and I would try to prepare myself before big meetings. And then I would get into the situation and I would be so excited about what we were trying to achieve and the possibility and the business outcome. And I would just get excited and my passion and enthusiasm would come bubbling out. And I have to tell you that at the end of 2 years, we had exceeded all expectations from our executives. We had also surpassed industry benchmarks. And at the end of 2 years, my boss admitted that I had been the perfect person for the job because of my passion and because of the qualities that I brought to the table. Number 2, I am honest. On the positive, I will always tell you the truth. I will always tell you what's going on, what issues we're encountering, and the 3 to 5 things we're doing to try to resolve them. Now, on the negative side, I am not a yes person, and there are some executives who just don't want to hear the truth. On the flip side, what I've also found is there are some executives who have become surrounded by people who are afraid to tell the executive what's really going on and only tell the executive what they think that executive wants to hear. These executives often find me refreshing because I tell them not only what's going on, but also the help that I need from them in order to make the business outcomes possible. Number 3, I am creative. On the positive side, I come up with multiple options for every challenge. I am also a fantastic person to participate in your brainstorming session and to get other members of your team starting to throw out ideas and come up with possibilities. On the negative side, I am not good at answering yes or no questions, and I tend to overwhelm people who just want a simple yes or no answer because I'm always thinking of, there might be some other options beyond just saying yes or no to this one that you're asking me about. I have always been like this. If my mother were here, she would laugh and tell you that in a world of black and white, I have always lived in Technicolor, and that the reason that I think outside the box is there are no boxes in my world. Number 4, I love math. On the positive side, I love analyzing data, charting the trend. I am a fantastic person to call on to fix that annoying error message that you're getting in your Excel formula. I love doing stuff like that. On the negative side, I tend to overwhelm people by my ability to remember numbers and facts and figures and things. I'm a geeky, math-loving engineer. Number 5, I show every emotion on my face the moment that I have it. On the positive side, everyone always knows where they stand with me because you can see it right there. I am also a terrible poker player. On the negative side, when I'm angry, disappointed, frustrated, again, it all shows up on my face. And people who are uncomfortable with those who express emotions, again, don't like having me around. Back to my former boss, I did get 2 years of weekly coaching to try not to do this. In the end, it's part of what makes me me. And number 6, I am courageous. On the positive, this makes me an excellent change agent because I am willing to chart uncharted waters. I am willing to try something new. I'm even willing to fail because I know that along the way, at a minimum, we're going to learn something. And we might also get more people out of a state of stagnation and thinking about the possibility of where we can go as a company. Now, on the negative side, this also means that I tend to champion things that are unpopular. And for those people who are really comfortable with the status quo, they don't like having me around. So these are the qualities that make me remarkable. And your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to reflect on the feedback that you've gotten over the years and figure out what traits you possess that make a dramatic impact on business performance. What aspects of you have repeatedly come up, either in constructive or not so constructive criticism? And are you willing to embrace the fact that even though some people may perceive those qualities as more positive or as more negative, that regardless the perception, these are what make you you. So this was the challenge that I gave to Alina. Just to recap, she is a Spitfire who works for a multinational corporation, and she was preparing to go into an uncomfortable meeting one-on-one with the director of her division. So Alina took the challenge and figured out what traits she brings to the table that make her remarkable. Here's her list. Number 1, she goes beyond her job description. Alina recognizes when projects might be going off track and jumps in to fix them and to make sure that customer commitments are met, even if it's not her job to do so. Number 2, Alina is a team player. She has this unique talent to foster a sense of team and to break through language and culture barriers to get people all marching in the same direction and really making sure that they're going to deliver the best possible result for their customers. Number 3, she deals with ambiguity. Alina focuses on getting creative to get stuff done and to deliver on her commitments. Often the assignments she gets seem pretty ambiguous, but she's able to figure out what would be the best possible outcome for her customers and what would deliver the best possible value to her executives, and that's what she always delivers. Number 4, Alina always hits the ground running, regardless of what's thrown at her. Like a lot of multinational manufacturers, the last 5 years had been rather tumultuous in her industry, and Alina didn't let this slow her down or affect her morale. Instead, what she realized was that things were changing, and every time something new is thrown at her, she picks it up and runs with it. Number 5, Alina relates to people without taking anything personally. She loves people, and Alina is always striving to learn from them to continue to develop her own skills. She recognizes that by getting a diverse set of opinions and multiple different perspectives on things, that all of that will continue to help her learn and grow and hone the skills that she's going to need as she continues to grow in her career. And finally, Alina just wants to take on the world. After a top performance review the previous year, what Alina was looking for was a way to use her natural enthusiasm and drive to exceed again and to be compensated accordingly. That's really what she was asking for. This is the list that Alina brought to her director, and the result? Alina got a raise and a promotion. Her director gave her a new position in her corporation that will continue to let her learn and grow and to continue to develop additional skills that Alina is going to need as she continues to grow in her career. In closing, I would just like to thank you for taking the time with me today. Alina and I both hope that you have found this inspiring. And we also hope that you will take a moment to figure out what makes you remarkable, and as the remarkable Dolly Parton says, and to do it on purpose. Thank you.